For the longest time, the global order seemed pretty much set in stone. But over the last few years, the ground has been shifting, and a new power has emerged, quietly, but very, very decisively. So today, we're going to break down how India hasn't just joined the conversation about global superpowers. It's actually starting to rewrite the entire rulebook. Okay, let's get into it.
All right, let's start with the one number that really changes everything. As of 2025, according to the Lowy Institute, India is now the world's third largest military power. That puts it right behind the United States and China. I mean, think about that. This is a massive leap forward, and it shows a nation of almost 1.5 billion people truly stepping onto the world stage.
But here's the thing. This isn't just a numbers game. It's not just about having more soldiers or buying more tanks. What we're really talking about here is a nation completely rethinking its role in the world. It's a huge strategic pivot, moving away from a policy of patience and restraint to one of absolute, undeniable strength.
So if you're looking for the exact moment when this shift became crystal clear, you have to look at what happened in May of 2025. A brutal terror attack in Pahalgam took the lives of 26 civilians. In the past, this might have been followed by weeks of deliberation. Not this time. The old playbook was completely tossed out. In the dead of night on May 7th, the Indian Armed Forces launched Operation Sindoor. Using advanced drones and precision strikes, they took out 9 terrorist camps across the border, eliminating over 100 terrorists. The message was loud and clear. This was a total break from the past.
And make no mistake, this wasn't just a one-and-done response. The Prime Minister himself came out and called it the new normal. This was a signal sent to the entire world. The new rule of engagement is simple. Any threat to India, any threat against its people, won't be debated. It will be met with overwhelming and decisive force.
So what does this new normal actually look like on paper? Well, it's basically a complete rewrite of India's national security doctrine. They've moved from a philosophy of restraint to a new one based on active compellence. Let's dig into what that really means.
For years, India's whole approach was called strategic restraint. The thinking was, if we keep our responses limited and predictable, we can avoid a bigger war. But the problem was that predictability was actually seen by some as an open invitation for more attacks. The new policy just flips that on its head. It's built on what's called credible deterrence and compellence. Now, major terror attacks are treated as acts of war, and striking first isn't just an option, it's an accepted right. India basically decided that being predictable was making it a target.
And this word right here, compellence, this is so important to understand. You see, deterrence is all about stopping someone from doing something in the first place. Compellence, that's about using force, or the threat of it, to make an adversary stop what they're already doing. It's about being proactive, not just reactive.
So this new doctrine really rests on a few key pillars. First, as we said, big terror attacks are now considered acts of war, period. Second, India is rejecting any outside interference in regional problems. It's handling its own backyard. Third, even things like historic water-sharing treaties are now on the table as a form of national security leverage. And finally, the nuclear policy has been sharpened. It's no longer just about assured retaliation, it's about assured punishment, with a relentless focus on being ready to go at a moment's notice.
Okay, but having a tough new rulebook is one thing. You absolutely need the muscle to enforce it, right? So how did India build that strength? Well, the answer is a massive, nationwide industrial and economic push called the Atmanirbhar, or self-reliant, revolution.
First things first, you just gotta follow the money. I mean, look at these numbers. The defense budget has just exploded, going from about 2.5 lakh crore rupees back in 2013 to nearly 7 lakh crore in 2025. That is almost a threefold increase in just over a decade. And all that cash is being poured into one thing: modernization and self-reliance.
And at the absolute core of this is the Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative. The idea behind it is actually pretty straightforward, but it's huge in scale. Stop depending on other countries for military hardware and build a world-class defense industry right there in India. Because at the end of the day, you can't import true power.
Now, this slide right here, this is a huge deal and a perfect example of this initiative in action. The Indian Army has managed to indigenize 91% of its ammunition. Just think about what that means for a second. It means that if a crisis hits, India's guns will not go silent because some other country decides to cut off their supply chain. That's what real strategic autonomy looks like.
And this whole revolution, it's not just about building stuff for themselves anymore. India has completely transformed into a major defense exporter.
We're talking about supplying military equipment to over 100 different countries, including some of the big players like the US and France. India has totally flipped the script. It's not just a buyer anymore, it's a major global supplier.
And man, the hardware that's coming out of this self-reliance push is just incredible. You've got the homegrown aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, for projecting power across the seas. You've got the Rafale jets and the S-400 missile shield to completely lock down the airspace. And then you have the BrahMos, the fastest supersonic cruise missile on the planet. Put it all together, and you have the speed, the range, and the firepower to dominate any potential conflict.
All right, so India has this powerful new doctrine. They've got the cutting-edge hardware to back it up. So what's next? Well, the focus is already shifting from the challenges of today to the battlefields of tomorrow. India's military planners are already thinking way ahead. They know the next war, whenever it comes, won't just be fought with tanks and fighter jets. They are getting ready for the invisible battlefields of the 21st century.
We're talking about battles that are going to be waged in totally new arenas, in cyberspace, across the electromagnetic spectrum, and yes, even in outer space. It means weaving artificial intelligence into every part of combat decision-making to be faster and smarter. And, maybe most importantly, it means controlling the tech from the bottom up, right down to designing and making their own advanced computer chips.
And all of this, it's not happening by accident. It's all part of a huge, long-term plan called the Sudarshan Chakra mission. The goal is to build a futuristic, all-encompassing national security shield by the year 2035, one that can protect the country from all the crazy threats of tomorrow.
You know, when you really boil it all down, this whole incredible transformation, the new rules, the industrial power, the vision for the future, it all comes back to a very simple, very powerful idea, summed up perfectly right here by the defense minister. Peace is only possible when we remain strong.
So at the end of the day, this isn't about looking for a fight. It's about becoming so strong that no one would dare to start one with you. By perfectly aligning its military strategy, its industrial power, and its national will, India has built a kind of silent power, one that keeps war away through sheer undeniable readiness. In a world full of noise, India has found its voice. And that voice is clear: stability through strength and peace on our own terms.
Gained.